That was a really good bar. There's banana and nut.
Yeah, it's got like no flour or something. I'm not sure
Oh,
what
almond flour, yeah.
almond flour, whatever that
I
means.
actually am starting to prefer almond flour. I don't know why. I never had anything against regular
Why
flour.
is it that they can make everything out of almonds now?
Yeah. It's just like, and supposedly they take a lot of
One, two,
water
three, four,
to
5, 6.
to grow. So it's just like, I don't know. It's like, it's more friendly for the cows, but I don't know how friendly it is like when it just takes so much water to grow almonds.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just, but yeah.
So yeah, like when I saw that that botch explosion at the end,
Yeah.
and I think I texted you, and I was like, was that? Did they mess it up?
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's just like, I don't know if I don't know if the sparklers helped, right? Because I feel like that's what got
What
more.
were the sparklers supposed to do exactly? Like,
So
was
I
that part of it?
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe it was supposed to be like, when you light the fuse on a firecracker,
Yeah.
it gives you the tss before it goes. But this wasn't like a Bugs Bunny Acme, type of bombs. This was supposed to be the ones that were just like landmines that you would just go off. So the smoke and the sparks made sense, but that it just didn't hit. But it was crazy though, because everything else before that was really good. Like that bat to the chest, like he wrapped the exploding barbed wire on the bat.
I mean, they
And
were
then him
they
in the
were
chest.
they were selling the gimmick match like big time.
Yeah.
It was working.
Oh yeah,
It was totally working. I thought some of the everything they did with like where they spaced out their explosions enough. They did them just right.
yeah. They didn't overdo it.
They didn't overdo it. They had them. The bat worked really good. I didn't think that. Every time they pull out the bat, I'm just like, ugh. You know what I mean?
It's rough. Yeah.
It's just like, it's. I mean, I'm all for it, but it just like, come on, it totally looks like a Nerf bat. Come on.
It does, yeah. Well, did you notice that was old school? Who did the actual? It was Tully.
Yeah.
At the end of this dynamite, where he hit the bat on the rope to show you this is a real bat.
Yeah.
That's an old school technique. Like before, I don't hit you with this. I'm going to show how real it is. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like if you're in a real, like if someone broke into your house and you have a bat, you're going to swing at their noggin.
Yeah.
You're not going to, hit them in the gut.
Right.
And then hit them in the back. But
One of these?
Yeah. Yeah. So you know it's going to
A
go
spear
like
with
that.
a bat.
So I feel like, yeah, maybe the bat. And I'm not really 100% sure why Jericho has a bat. I don't feel like he needs a bat.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it works as a prop, and that's fine.
yeah, but it worked in the barbed wire match just because the barbed wire wrapped in bat has become pretty infamous. Obviously Mick Foley, Cactus Jack was doing it a long time ago, and then it was brought back to life by Negan on Walking Dead.
Right.
Lucille. So just to have it the exploding barbed wire around there, I thought that worked good. And then you would swing it, and maybe then he's like, I defended it so it hit him in the chest.
Oh, and they did a lot of stuff great. Like it was that one when they were talking about it when Moxley kicked out of Omega's finisher.
Oh yeah, and that was a big deal because he used the
He used the
Yeah.
explosion, and that's great. Like that's good booking, right? Like they took care of both of them on that one.
that was great psychology, and that's
Yeah.
what you want, right? It's just like you're telling a story.
Yeah.
And Mox is very old school in that sense, and you can tell that was a great addition to add that in, just to realize that this was part of it. And look, because it gets to the point where it's just like, I don't want to sound like Jim Cornette. It's just like, well, what else do I got to do? Just got to take out a gun and shoot you. And it's just like, but there's something to that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy Jim Cornette. I like listening to him. As a radio personality, but he's got very old school ideas about
Yeah.
wrestling.
And this is the old school because just like would wrestling have lasted as long as it did even before Vince said it's sports entertainment, pal? I mean, before that, it was just like, would it have lasted because the internet, as
Right.
soon as information came out, because you had the underground newsletters, but I mean, you had to be pretty hardcore. Now, very casual people can pretty much get. So I mean, I think it may have been inevitable anyway. But look, it's just like, to what Jerry Lawler says, is like, we barely used to touch each other and everybody believed it. Now we beat the shit out of each other and nobody believes it. So there's something to that, because it's just like, look, those guys, they were hitting each other hard. Make no mistakes. They had welts. That barbed wire has barb to it. I don't know if it's like 100%. Like
Yeah, what is that?
it is barbed wire, but I think they just numb down the ends.
Oh, like the nubs or whatever.
Yeah, so you're still getting cut. So there's still very much potential for danger in these matches. And look, and the pyro we've seen, like Jeff Hardy's been set on fire by accident, Undertaker's been set on fire by accident. So there is a legitimate level of danger that's here.
Yes.
So I'm surprised they just didn't go all out and just like, okay, I'm going to cover your face and I'm going to go on there and we're going to just have these things explode. I think if it would have exploded on all four sides of the ring and didn't have, even if the sparklers were a little less and that explosion, if it had more smoke, it just needed to be loud and it needed to have smoke.
Yeah, it wasn't very loud.
Yeah, if it was loud and you saw a bunch of smoke, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
And you didn't see it going in the other direction. And look, what's his name? He was in close. He was covered up, right? The Mad King on top of him. They could have legit said, okay, we're gonna have like somewhat like fireworks. I mean, you could go to Chinatown and get some blockbusters. That's like a quarter of a stick of dynamite, and you could have done that and got a loud enough boom.
Yeah.
We used to throw those at each other like firecrackers, so we had problems. But that would have been loud enough that you had four on each side of the ring.
Yeah,
that would have boomed loud, and if you just had smoke after that, I think it would have been totally fine.
Well, apparently they did a test explosion before the show, and it went off great.
And it did. Oh,
and then
wow.
the second one was a dud.
Oh, that sucks.
But
That's
again,
hard.
and I hate to harp on it, and I hate to be about a Karen about this, but like I'd like to speak to the manager. Yeah. Because that's I always, my thing with pay-per-views is I'm always like, okay, I'm not gonna get it tonight. I'm just home at the house by myself. I don't need to shell out for it, right?
Oh yeah.
And then like start watching the pre-show and they talk me into it, and it's so easy to just hit buy. And
So the pre-show worked for you?
Yeah.
The pre-show worked?
Yes, it does.
Pre-show did work.
Well, it's gotten me every time. Like it never doesn't.
That's the idea.
It never doesn't. So it got me. I got in, whatever, and it was a good pay-per-view overall.
It was solid.
But I was definitely buying it for the exploding barbed wire death match.
That's 100% why I bought it. Yeah, that was enough of a gimmick to do that.
Yeah.
And the other issue with it, and that could have been written off as accidental. Mox did a great job live after the show covering up for it. It's just like, because Kenny, they showed the cleaner. They showed him, Kenny Omega, building the ring. So let's do the right thing and put the heat on the heel.
Yes.
And it's just like, that was a great match, but man, he couldn't build a ring for shit.
Yeah.
That was perfect. He built, he put the heat on the right person.
But not on TV.
No, on
That's
Dynamite they didn't cover it well, because look, if you wanted the emotion, and these guys are very emotional, and you can tell there's a legit level of realism to them, that's their real personality. They could have been like, look, we know Kenny messed up, he can't build an exploding ring worth of crap. But you didn't know that when you jumped on top of me, right?
Yeah.
It was Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yeah.
They threw the dummy grenade and he jumped on the grenade not knowing it wasn't going to blow up. They could have just did the same exact thing for Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
He jumped on the grenade not knowing it wasn't going to blow up, but he proved that I got my drinking buddy back.
Yeah.
And I think they should have put more emotion into that. Not like put my hand over the heat and it's like, yeah, it was still hot though. Because it wasn't, at that point, it wasn't about the explosion. It was about the emotion that it was just like 5, 4, and you dove on your friend to protect him.
Yeah.
We wanted the emotion of that. By that, it doesn't matter that it didn't go off. You could have just done the Captain America on there, and they didn't do that live. And I feel like that was a missed opportunity to pivot.
Right, and it just stems from the fact that whatever, they're doing a great show, and I don't have a wrestling show, so I can't speak.
Yeah.
But there was no plan B to say, hey, if the fireworks if it's a dud, don't sell it so hard.
Yeah.
Turn over just anything else to do before they go to black, and that would have been enough.
Yeah, that would have been enough. They should have just had some smoke bombs.
Yeah.
Anything as a plan B, but yeah, they didn't have that. But it was, like I said, it was still a solid show. I wouldn't say it was a bad show. It sucks that they got a lot of heat, pardon the pun for that, but they got a lot of heat. They actually used their copyright powers to pull down a lot of the dud from social media.
Did they really?
Oh yeah. They did.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's just like usually they're fine with it and they'll let you do it, but they definitely exercise their copyright owner, pull this stuff down because
Is
they
it
didn't
still
want
on
to.
the pay-per-view on BR Live?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I wonder if
don't
do
know.
you think they'd censor it out?
Yeah, maybe they do. Maybe they just let it be. Because look, either way, it's going to get eyeballs now at this point.
Yeah.
So it's just like Vince was always terrible about that. It's just like, oh, it didn't work, so let's pull it down. Got a lot of people are like would go back and watch it, and it's like you're still going to get the eyeballs, right? And that's still what we're in the business of. Now no longer ass in seats, it's ass on couches, eyeballs on TV or eyeballs on your device to watch it. So I feel like they should just leave it alone. Let people go look at it.
Yes, I paid $50 for it. I own it.
Yes, I was just like, don't take this away.
Yeah.
But yeah, still a solid show though. The follow up, the comeback show from Dynamite after it was really good too. I really enjoyed what they did with Inner Circle and MJF. I feel like that was a good payoff. I think that was, even though they didn't introduce anyone new, but introducing that new faction was worthy of a lights off, what's going on, lights on, they're all standing there. That felt very old school because there was a couple of swerves in there.
Yeah.
Just like you had the camera swerve and they're like, and then they set him up to just like, we're going to show you that MJF is like a no good heel. So they had Sammy setting up the camera and then like, okay, you found out this way, we're about to whoop your butt. And they started moving close to him and then they turned around and like, no, now we're going to whoop your ass. And then he played it off and then it's just like, no, it was like watching chess. It really was like watching chess, and then the camera went off, and it's just like they were one step ahead of each other every time, and then it ended up that MJF stayed ahead of him, and I thought that was great.
One thing AEW does well, and I was going to text you this while I was watching it, they excel at creating factions.
They do.
They're really good. And like, what's their weakest one has been Dark Order, but they're still around, and they're kind of over now.
Yeah, they're over now. Yeah, they are over now.
Yeah.
It's just like and even when they weren't, people were interested of like who was the. Well, what'd they call him? The Exalted One. That got a lot
Yeah,
of...
everybody thought it was going to be Matt Hardy for a while.
Yeah, they thought it was going to be Matt Hardy. They thought it was going to be Raven. They actually even paid to have Raven sit in the crowd and watch, and then they showed him on there, and it's just like, as far as I know, he doesn't work for him, but he still like showed up and sat there and like, wait a minute, was that Raven?
Yeah.
And then he never came back again.
I love that about AEW. They have that freedom to sort of like dip their toe in other waters.
Yeah, and
It's good.
It's ripe for the picking. That they're ripe to be the number one show right now. Like
They're about to be, huh? Because NXT's moving.
yeah, are they moving?
I heard that's been the rumor that they're moving to Tuesday.
Oh, because I wasn't sure if they could be work while moving to Peacock. Now that they're going to be on Peacock. 'Cause
Well, I just meant I don't know if that's the case, but dates they're definitely moving. Wait, not definitely. I'm just like spreading rumors.
wow.
But I heard that's in the plan. And why not? If you're NBC and you got NXT now, they'd be like, why would we going to have this on Wednesday against another wrestling show? That doesn't make any sense. We could just easily put it on Tuesday.
For armchair quarterbacking, I think the WWE's first mistake was that they took NXT off the app and then put it on USA.
Right.
I was clamoring for them to do that a long time ago, and just like, why instead of having a 3-hour Raw, have a 1 hour in NXT and then a 2-hour Raw on the same night? That way, at least you're getting a different show.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't do that. Then they try to put it against, and look, they're trying to recreate that Monday Night War magic, and then they had the Wednesday Night War. But wars are waged differently now, whether it's real wars or TV wars,
Streaming wars.
or Colo wars, streaming wars. Everything's different now.
And everything is on demand.
Everything is on
Watching
demand.
a show live is pretty old school.
Yeah. So I didn't think they should have did that, but look, it ended up that it didn't turn into a competition because back before. Like for us, we were fine, right? Because we had the replay and we set a VCR and we could go back and watch it the way we wanted to.
Right.
Now it's way too easy to watch whenever you want. So it's just like, I don't think there's going to be that kind of war that you'd want. It's just like let's do the picture in picture so no one changes the channel. It's just like where I'm not even sure that anyone has like the type of remote that changes that channel. I don't know if you go through any streaming. It's not that easy to change the channel.
Unless you have regular cable at this point.
Yeah.
Which the number of people that have that is dropping daily.
Yeah, it's very low.
So you can't change the channel. You have to reset your whole Roku.
Yeah, exactly. So I
Go back to the home screen and search.
Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah. So I don't know, but it's good. I want them all to succeed. I'm not interested in anyone going out of business. I'm more interested in having compelling television because Vince McMahon said something that said we're no longer just competing with another wrestling company or a sports entertainment company. We're competing with everything. And I didn't originally believe that, but I do believe that now.
Yeah.
Because you basically have people that are sitting in front of multiple devices. So to keep your eyeballs on that same device, because you can have it, right? You can have one streaming on each device. So, but you want the attention to stay there, right? And they're having trouble with that, because they're just like, now it's just like so many hours of content, and it's just like, and it loses feeling special. So, and I think NXT, it was magical, it was doing great, and they basically took everybody that made that magic, and they weren't able to recreate it, in my opinion, on that next run. It's getting harder for them to create stars, and even the ones that they were created, like some of them are wanting to stay there to keep that, but it's just like, it's a pet peeve. Not everybody could have like a heavy metal song. Not everybody should have greasy hair. Not everybody.
Yeah, I think you
should have
described it once
a
as
tattoo.
NXT is too heavy metal.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way everything is a heavy metal entrance.
Yeah.
Everything's a carnival ride.
They can't do that, man. I always go back to the Honky Tonk Man. It's just like how terrible would a Honky Tonk Man heavy metal song sound, right? It just wouldn't work.
And one thing about, I think, WWE, NXT, whatever, they have an issue because they've got nobody to job for them. Okay, so they've got everyone is a potential star. So you're asking them to do the job to put people over or whatever, and I don't know, it dilutes the product. You know.
I agree. As former enhancement talent, I do realize the importance of enhancement talent. Where back then you would think like, why shouldn't you make everybody special? But there is a way to have enhancement talent and make the other person feel special, and then maybe get the other person over. They're missing something where it's just like they're not allowing a lot of people to get over organically. They're really trying to shape it, where it was easier to, if you get the right piece of enhancement talent, that'll actually make that star. Eventually, you can get a Hardy Boys level breakout that are just like, that's all they used to do is take great bumps for people when they were enhancement talent, and then they turned into this. So you need a way to see the stars and not give away the stars going at each other. They lost the house show model, right? TV was just a commercial for your house show. That we're going to show you who the stars are. They may rub shoulders. They're never going to fight. You want to see them fight, you're going to have to pay to go to the house show.
Right.
And then the pay-per-view turned into the house show. It's just like, you want to pay, you're going to have to pay per view to watch them fight. But now they're just more interested in that ad revenue. So they're just basically giving it away for free, and they're giving away all the money matches. And it's just like, you still need money matches. And it's just like, and that's what's missing. And then, okay, they're going to gimmicks, exploding Barbwire Deathmatch. That turned into a money match, even though we already saw Mox versus Omega, but that was a money match. Royal Rumble, I'm okay with that. If you guys want to have just like, okay, TV's just going to have regular matches, but we're going to have some different gimmicks around each one, fine. That's totally fine. Make it feel a little bit more special, because that's what's missing. Just like whether it's the star or the match, it has to feel special if you're going to invest $50 on when the pre-show pulls you in. It better feel special.
Right. And I'd like to speak to the AEW manager
Yes.
about this pay-per-view, please.
I'd like to speak to your manager, please.